Hello everyone, now you will hear a brief summary of the movie Counterattack. Enjoy watching. 5 Mexican guys were driving in a car, discussing an important question of where to eat sandwiches. Suddenly, a pickup truck crashed into them at full speed, and the gunman shot at the car. However, the guys didn't panic and rammed the criminals in response. After jumping out of the car, they wiped out all the attackers. Some they shot, some they stabbed. The soldiers armed themselves and took a head count. 3 days earlier, Lucia took her younger sister Carla to the hospital for an abortion. On the way, the girl felt nauseous, ran to the side of the road, and saw something horrifying. Nearby, 2 friends, Armando and Tuco, were drinking in a bar. When they stepped outside, they saw 2 sisters standing near a police station, asking for help. However, the bandits grabbed them and began questioning what they had seen in the field. Armando decided to intervene and protect the girls. When the situation escalated, Armando shot half of the thugs, and to the main one, he pointed a gun to his head. Only then did the cops emerge from the station, aiming their weapons at Armando. The man claimed that he was a soldier and had saved the girls from being kidnapped. Armando threw his ID at the police chief so that he would believe him. As a result, the dirty cop had to arrest the bandits. Lucia revealed that they had found a mass grave nearby, which is why the cartel members wanted to kidnap them. The Mexican army surrounded the mass grave, where they found the body parts of 10 soldiers, tortured and brutally executed by the cartel of Jose Urias. General Marcelo told Secretary Arvaz that they would avenge their men and catch the thugs responsible. The operation group would be led by Armando Herrera. Jose was watching the news about his crimes and preparing waffles for his daughters when his brother Roman, the mustached man who Armando had beaten up, arrived. He was immediately released because the cartel had bribed both the police and politicians, but they wouldn't be able to strike a deal with the Special Forces guy. He leads an elite squad called the Bats, which had previously killed their father. That same day, the bandits broke into the sisters' home and kidnapped them. The Special Forces had to capture Eduardo Medina, known as Pig, who was a weak link in the organization and might turn over Jose Urias in exchange for his freedom. He owns a seafood restaurant, and that's where the Bats organized a raid. They surrounded Pig from all sides and arrested him without any trouble. They took him to a motorboat, where a man from Jose's gang was about to shoot him, but he was killed by a young sniper named Polo. Pig and other cartel members were handed over to the police. The operation was successful, and the soldiers now hoped to go on leave. General Marcelo was pleased with his men's work, stating that it was the only way to catch these bastards in broad daylight. Armando wouldn't stop until he caught Jose. However, due to bureaucratic delays, he would have to go on vacation with his comrades for now. Jose met with the corrupt politician Arvaz, who had received money from the cartel and gave Jose a phone that would allow the bandits to track Captain Armando's mobile. Roman filmed their meeting to gather evidence against the politician. His brother asked him to handle Armando well. The cartel had chosen the perfect time for an attack, as Armando was on his weekend, unaware that his squad would be spending it together. This is how they ended up facing an armed gang in the middle of the road. It was an ambush. The soldiers collected the dead bandits, their bulletproof vests, and seized all the weapons. Now they were well armed and could put up a fight against the arriving reinforcements. They ran into the woods and took positions behind rocks. Roman's squad fired automatic rifles at them. A bandit ordered the others to charge, and the soldiers took advantage of this to kill 3 of them. After a few precise shots, the rest of the reinforcements were sent to the afterlife. Roman was seriously wounded and hid behind a car. He shot out the tires of another car and, with his last strength, threw a grenade. Then he called his brother and asked him to avenge him. Armando hoped to figure out who had betrayed them, but the mustached bandit died in front of their eyes. It turned out to be Jose Urias' brother. Soon there would be a lot of thugs around, so they needed to get far from the highway. Armando requested evacuation and informed them where they and their squad would be in 6 hours. They couldn't wait for reinforcements. The bandits would arrive first. Jose did indeed reach the scene of the massacre within minutes. The batch had killed his father earlier and now his brother. "I love you, bastard," Armando said. "I love you, brother." replied Roman. Jose had already called the Mad Dogs, a dangerous group made up mostly of former soldiers. The authority had the advantage, as he knew where his enemies were headed. The squad moved towards El Paso along the river. Polo, the best sniper, disguised his white hoodie with mud to make it less noticeable. The soldiers were ambushed, and only 7 of the 9 bandits survived. The forces were still unequal, so they had to retreat, especially since they were running low on ammunition. The soldiers spread out and set up an ambush. Armando made 2 precise shots, and Polo took out another bandit from behind. The criminals had to hide, but 3 soldiers were already waiting for them in the bushes. Unfortunately, Polo was shot, but the wound was minor. The soldiers killed 3 more bandits. The bandits were now armed, and the soldiers had to retreat to the house to ensure a safe exit. Joaquin threw a grenade at the enemies, and Polo was again injured, this time in the leg. The Mad Dogs fired at the house, but the special forces had a better position, and soon 3 mercenaries were sent to the afterlife. Carla was saved by the bulletproof vest she initially hated, and during the firefight, Combo was also injured. It wasn't clear how much longer they could hold off their opponents, but Cobra led the squad into an underground passage where criminals had previously smuggled drugs into the house. The women took up arms, and Armando quickly trained them on how to handle guns. Polo was bleeding, and Combo managed to stop his bleeding by stuffing a large piece of bandage into the wound. Eventually, the mercenaries retrieved the heavy-duty machine guns, and the soldiers had no choice but to lie on the ground and pray they wouldn't be hit. The house was now under fire from 4 guns. When it was time to change magazines, the soldiers launched a counterattack, taking down 2 shooters and tossing a grenade into the remaining ones. The tanks returned fire from the street, and as they retreated, one took a bullet. Jose commanded his mercenaries to storm the house and then took out Combo as well. Only one mercenary managed to reach the house, and during a hand-to-hand fight, he stabbed Joaquin in the leg. Fortunately, Polo covered him. Jose took a machine gun, ordered his men to bring him ammo, but Armando shot the mercenary. The tanks were also out of ammo, so Carla bravely brought them the ammunition. Meanwhile, the remnants of the gang advanced through the underground tunnel. Carla saw that the tanks were bleeding and was about to call the doctor when Cobra appeared from the basement. He and the tanks exchanged fire, but the soldier tossed a grenade into the pit, causing part of the house to explode. Tank, heroically, perished, taking the remnants of the enemy squad with him. In the end, only one person survived, Jose Urias, who was hiding behind some logs. He managed to shoot Polo in the neck, and the young man bled to death. Now, the authority was ready to surrender. He came out with his hands up and threw his weapon to the ground. Jose laughed, knowing he would be well treated in prison. Armando ordered his men to calm down and not shoot. "Do you want to shoot, Doc?" Dottie said. "No, we have honor." Armando suggested they settle it with fists. Jose beat up the captain and took out a knife, but Armando stabbed him in the leg and broke his arm. After a few more blows, Jose was knocked out. Armando wanted to slit his throat, but the bandit wouldn't get off so easily. The captain would make sure Jose paid for everything. The next morning, military helicopters arrived, and that's how the 5 Mexican soldiers wiped out the entire gang and captured its leader.